Awakening the Third Eye. Chapter number 3. Awakening the Third Eye. What is the third eye? The third eye is the gate that opens to the space of consciousness and to the inner worlds. It is also the main organ through which the body of energy can be awakened and governed. So, practically, the third eye acts as a switch which can activate higher frequencies of the body of energy and thereby lead to higher states of consciousness. From a therapeutic point of view, it has been my experience over the years that many clients get better when they connect with their third eye, whatever the nature of their problem. Due to its function as a switch, as soon as it is activated, the third eye tends to set into motion several circulations of energy. This automatically results in correcting a number of physical and emotional disorders, a process that could be described as a kind of self-acupuncture. Moreover, even the beginning of third eye awakening tends to put people in touch with more profound aspects of themselves, which in itself has a major healing action. Of course, I am not suggesting that it is enough to connect with the third eye to heal everything, but still the potential of this center is so enormous that I would not be surprised if in the coming decades, more and more third eye therapies were developed. From a spiritual point of view, in both the Christian and Hindu traditions one finds texts that compare the body to a temple. If we were to develop the analogy, we could compare the third eye to the temple's portal. By crossing the portal one goes from the profane to the sacred, from the stage where one reads and thinks about spiritual life to the stage where one starts experiencing it. The third eye has always been regarded by those who seek to know themselves as a most precious jewel, hence the precious stone placed on the forehead of statues of Buddhas. In this chapter we will describe how to begin to establish a connection with the third eye, practice 3.2. Then we will cover a technique of meditation, 3.7, through which the third eye can be further explored and developed. First, opening. Preliminary advice for the opening practice. This opening practice is designed to give you a first thread to the third eye by awakening a certain feeling between the eyebrows. It is designed to be practiced only once or a few times within a short period of time. Then the work on the eye will be continued with the meditation technique indicated below, 3.7, and with all the other practices of the book. A good way to start is to choose a day when you don't have anything else to do, at the beginning of a weekend for instance, and to focus intensely on the practices. After this strong initial imprint, it will be easier to follow the rest of the techniques. You can either do the practices alone or with friends, which will make the energy more intense. The best day of the month to start is the one preceding the full moon. However, you do not have to worry too much about the calendar. The important thing is to do it, rather than wait for the perfect time. Preferably wear light-colored clothes, white is best. Avoid wearing black. Remember that you are dealing with subtle perception. The vibration should not be expected to feel like a dagger in your forehead. Even if you can only perceive a faint little tingling or pressure between the eyebrows, that will be enough to start the process. All the other practices in the book will contribute to enhancing and developing the perception. Remember, no imagination, no visualization. Let things come to you. A certain tiny vibration is already present between the eyebrows and everybody. The purpose is to reveal this natural vibration in order to cultivate it later on. Read the instructions given in the following section carefully a few times before putting them into practice. Preparation. Choose a quiet room where no one will disturb you for at least an hour. You do not have to be alone. You can implement this practice together with friends. But there should not be anyone in the room who is not practicing with you. Light candles around the room. Take off your shoes. Undo your belt, tie, or other restrictive clothing. Take off your watch. Lie down on the floor, on a carpet, blanket, or thin mat. The arms should not be crossed, but should lie by your side. It is preferable to have the palms facing upwards. The legs should not be crossed. Close your eyes. Keep your eyes closed until the end of the practice. Relax for 2 or 3 minutes. Do 5 or 10 minutes of humming sound. Phase 1. Become aware in the throat. Start breathing with the throat friction. Become aware of the vibration generated in the larynx by the friction. Be just aware, without any particular concentration. Flow with the energy. If some movements take place in your body or in your consciousness, let them happen. Continue for 5 to 10 minutes, breathing with the friction, aware of the vibration in the larynx. Phase 2. Maintain the throat friction. Instead of placing your awareness in the larynx, now become aware in the area between your eyebrows. Do not concentrate. If you grasp the area between the eyebrows with too tight a focus, the process can't unfold. Flow with the energy. Follow what comes spontaneously. If the breath naturally changes and becomes more intense, then follow the breath. But make sure that you maintain some friction in the throat throughout these first 5 phases of the practice. Remain just aware between the eyebrows, breathing with the throat friction, for about 5 minutes. Time precision is not relevant for this practice, so there is no need to look at your watch. Phase 3. Place the palm of your hand in front of the area between the eyebrows. The hand does not touch the skin, it is about 3 to 5 centimeters, 1 or 2 inches, away. Note that the hand does not touch the skin. For a few minutes, stay lying on the floor with the eyes closed, breathing with the throat friction, aware between the eyebrows and the palm 1 inch in front of this area. Phase 4. Keep your hand in front of you, or put it back by your side, as you prefer. Remain with your eyes closed, breathing with the throat friction, aware between the eyebrows. Start looking for a vibration between the eyebrows. It can take different forms, either a clear vibration or a tingling, or even a rather blurry pressure, a weight or a density between the eyebrows. Do not try hard. Remain vacant, let things happen. Note that your eyes remain closed during all phases of this practice. Phase 5. As soon as the faintest feeling of vibration or tingling, pressure, pulsation, density or weight is perceived, proceed as follows. Start connecting the throat friction with the feeling between the eyebrows. Connecting means being aware of both the friction and the vibration, or density, or pressure, between the eyebrows at the same time. As you proceed, the link between the friction energy and the third eye will be perceived more and more clearly. The vibration will change as you combine it with the friction. It will become more subtle and yet more intense at the same time. If vibration or tingling is felt in some other part of the body, for instance the whole of the forehead, the arms or even the whole body, do not pay any attention to it. Just remain aware of the vibration, or density, or pressure, between the eyebrows. Continue this phase for about 10 minutes, building up the vibration between the eyebrows by connecting it with the throat friction. Remember, no imagination, no visualization. Just flow with what comes. Phase 6. Stop the throat friction. Do not focus on the vibration anymore. Remain with your eyes closed, just aware between the eyebrows for another 10 minutes or more. Be extremely still, feeling the energy around you. The more motionless you become, the more you can tune in. Observe if any feeling of light or colors can be perceived between the eyebrows. Tips, tricks and traps. Do not concentrate or grasp the area between the eyebrows, just keep a very gentle focus in the area. Grasping would only block the process. Do not try to let things happen. Focusing between the eyebrows just means being aware of this area and not directing your eyeballs as if trying to look at this area. If you were to implement such movements of the eyeballs, it would create a tension that could only disturb the natural course of the experience. So the eyeballs are not directed in any particular direction. Same throughout the book. A common experience, in the beginning, is to feel vibration or pressure, density, not only in the area between the eyebrows, but also in other parts of the forehead or the face. If this happens, don't pay attention to it, just focus on the vibration between the eyebrows, connecting it with the throat friction. With practice, everything will fall into place. If you practice with friends, make sure you are not touching each other in order to avoid inappropriate transfers of energy. If the experience becomes too intense, all you have to do is open your eyes and you will be brought back to your normal state of consciousness. First opening, synopsis of the practice: lie down and relax. Number 1, throat friction plus awareness in the larynx. Number 2, throat friction plus awareness between the eyebrows. Number 3, same as 2, plus palm of the hand in front of the third eye. Number 4, throat friction plus looking for vibration, tingling, pressure, density between the eyebrows. Number 5, connecting the throat friction with the vibration between the eyebrows. Number 6, motionlessness, connecting with the energy around you. Various experiences. In Chapter 10 you will find a summary of the most common experiences encountered when starting to work on the third eye according to the principles and techniques developed in this book. As far as this first opening is concerned, the only things that matter are the vibration, or tingling, or density, between the eyebrows and the light, if you happen to perceive it. The best attitude is to pay no attention to any other manifestations that may occur while implementing the practice. When dealing with the third eye and with etheric energy, especially in the beginning, minor manifestations may take place, such as tingling or even twitching here and there in the body, or images flashing back to your consciousness. Let them come and let them go, for they do not mean much. Just follow the technique as if nothing was happening. It may be that the vibration, tingling, density or light you will feel between the eyebrows will be quite intense, but it really does not matter if they happen to be faint or blurry. As we will see later, the intensity of the energy can vary greatly from one day to the next for the same person, so it may just be that you have attempted the first opening on a low-intensity day. However faint these qualities may be, they are a first thread, and a systematic technology will be gradually introduced in the book to transform them into a clear perception of the third eye. Experiential references. Vibration, etheric, life force. Colors, light astral, purple light, astral space. As you practice the various techniques working on the third eye, you will encounter mainly 3 types of experiences between the eyebrows: 1. Vibration, 2. Colors and light, 3. Purple light. Roughly speaking, the first one indicates an activation of the etheric layer, the second indicates the astral, while the perception of the purple light indicates that a connection has been made with the astral space. The terms etheric and astral will be developed further on in this book. Of course, these indications are far too simplified to be completely exact. But from an experiential point of view, they provide helpful references to allow you to find your way in the beginning. Number 1, vibration, tingling, a feeling of pressure, weight, or density, all have the same significance when felt between the eyebrows. They indicate that something is being activated in the etheric part of your third eye. The etheric body is the layer of life force equivalent to the PR Georgia of the Indian tradition and the Chi of traditional Chinese medicine. The third eye is not a physical organ, it is predominantly etheric and astral. The vibration, or any of its equivalents, such as tingling, pulsing, pressure, density, is the sensation by which the etheric is perceived. Whenever you feel it somewhere in your body, it indicates that the etheric layer is activated in this area. So the perception of the vibration between the eyebrows is nothing other than a perception of the etheric part of the third eye. Since tingling, pressure, density or weight have more or less the same significance, to simplify I shall refer to all of them by the same word: vibration. Therefore, whenever you read vibration in this book, it refers to any or all of these different forms. For instance, build up the vibration between the eyebrows means build up the modality that is most natural to you, vibration, pressure, density, or their equivalent. Anyway, after some time the vibration will be perceived as all of these simultaneously. There are different levels of vibration, just as there are different levels of etheric energy, some more subtle than others. The intensity of the vibration may vary from one day to the next. Apart from quantitative variations, it is also the quality of the vibration that tends to vary naturally from one day to another. Consequently, it is important not to cling to any modality but to flow with what comes each day. After some time the experience will become more stable and the energy movements will be more under your control. Number 2. The second type of experience that can take place between the eyebrows is that of non-physical lights of various sorts, from a vague haze, cloud, or glow, to colors and organized patterns. These various manifestations can be regarded as equivalent and indicate that something is being activated in the astral part of your third eye. To simplify, I will refer to all of them by the term light. So each time you read light in this book, it means all or any of these: haze, colors, light patterns, shining dots, or anything that glows. Choose the one that comes most naturally to you and let it be gradually refined into a more and more brilliant light. The astral body is the layer of mental consciousness and emotions. The equation, non-physical, light equals astral, is not absolute, for certain high frequencies of light come from far above the astral layer. But as you will quickly learn to recognize, the lights and colors that commonly appear between the eyebrows when you switch on your eye are a clear indicator that the astral part of the third eye is being activated. Number 3. The purple light is often perceived as the background of the other lights or color patterns. It gives the feeling of an expanse or of a space that extends in front of your third eye. The deeper you contact the purple light, the more you perceive it as a space that is not only in front of you, but all around you. This space corresponds to what esotericists call the astral space. This space of consciousness is not always perceived as purple, but also as dark blue or even black. What matters most is the feeling of space, whatever the color of darkness perceived. I will therefore use the word space for the dark expanse at the background of the third eye, regardless of its color. Note that the perception of the purple space is quite simple, and that many people have experienced it, in particular during childhood, without realizing its real nature. If you are not feeling any vibration at all, here are a few indications for those who might not seem to feel any vibration between the eyebrows while implementing the exercises. It is possible, and not uncommon, that the vibration is there, but you are not registering it. Maybe you are expecting something extraordinary or very intense. Maybe it is too simple. This vibration has always been between your eyebrows and you never paid any attention to it. Maybe you are blocking the process by trying too hard. Make sure you do not concentrate, let things happen. Don't look for the vibration, let it come to you. Continue with the practice, insist, but in the spirit of letting go. There is another reason you may not feel any vibration at all. It may be that you are getting light instead of vibration. Remember our simple references. Vibration, etheric, light, astral. If you are perceiving light in any form, from a simple blurry whitish haze to the wonderful purple of the space, through various types of colors and patterns, then you are already in the astral, hence no longer in the etheric. You can't, in the beginning anyway, be outside and inside a house at the same time. Consequently, if you are getting light, it is quite possible you have bypassed the level of the vibration. In that case, just go on with your practice with the light instead of the vibration. In the scheme of our meditation technique, section 3.7, go from phase 2 to phase 3. Don't worry about the vibration, connect the throat friction with the light. After implementing these practices with hundreds of students at the Clairvision School, I have never seen one who did not manage to feel the vibration after a bit of practice. Follow the oxyrhynchus sayings of Jesus, where it is advised that those who seek do not cease until they find, and when they find they will be astonished. Persist, 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 and everything will come. More about the third eye. A useful hint is to consider the eye as a patch or a 50-cent coin on the forehead. In reality, the third eye is more like a pipe or a tunnel, going from the area between the eyebrows to the occipital bone at the back of the head. The tunnel of the third eye. All along the tunnel are a number of centers of energy through which one can connect with different worlds and areas of consciousness. This explains why different systems may locate the third eye in different places. Each of them chooses a different center along the pipe, or even a structure of energy adjacent to the tunnel, as a reference point. Another important point to keep in mind is that the third eye is not physical. The grossest part of the third eye is a structure of energy belonging to the etheric body or layer of life force. The etheric body has many connections with the physical body, and therefore the third eye, being the main switch of the etheric body, is also closely connected to certain structures of the physical body, for instance the pituitary and pineal glands. However, it would be oversimplified to say that the third eye is the pineal gland or the pituitary gland, as stated by certain books. As explained before, the tunnel of the third eye is not physical. It impacts its energy on a number of structures of the physical body, including the frontal sinus, the optic nerves and their chiasma, the nerves of the cribriform plate of the ethmoid bone, the pituitary and pineal glands, some of the nuclei at the center of the brain, the ventricles of the brain, and others. It would be far too simplistic and limiting to pick one of these physical structures and label it third eye. Once more, the third eye is not physical, it is an organ of energy. It may have some privileged connections with certain physical structures, but it cannot be limited to any of them. In the beginning, do not worry about any other part of the tunnel, just remain aware between the eyebrows. One has to start somewhere, and this particular center between the eyebrows has the great advantage of creating a protective energy all around you in your aura as soon as you activate it. Other centers of the pipe will be introduced later. So in this book, whenever we talk about the eye, we mean the area between the eyebrows. That does not mean the area between the eyebrows is the whole third eye, of course. But in the early stages of our training, it is the area we will use and develop as the main switch, the place to remain aware of permanently. If you get sensations in other areas of the head, don't try to suppress them, but don't pay attention to them either. Keep your focus between the eyebrows. Third eye meditation. Let us now start our main technique of meditation. The initial stages of this meditation process are not intended to project you into spectacular states of transcendence, but to work at building up the third eye systematically and later on to achieve true inner silence. As will be discussed in Chapter 9 on awareness, one of the principles of our approach is that one cannot fight mentally against the mind. One cannot force the mind into being silent. But one can build a structure beyond the mind, from which the mind can be mastered. In that sense, the third eye can be compared to a control tower, similar to that of the 20th hexagram of the I Ching. The first phases of this meditation process aim at structuring the third eye and imprinting it as tangibly as possible into your system. Phases 4 and 5 deal with the inner space and the mysterious vortices. During the first weeks of your practice, to simplify, you may decide to bypass phase 5, the vortex, going straight from the phase on this space to the non-technique or meditation proper, when you remain just aware above the head. Preparation. Remove shoes, belt, tie, and watch. Sit cross-legged on the floor or on a chair with your back straight. You do not have to be on the floor, but your back should be very straight. If you sit on a chair, it is preferable not to lean back against it, so that you allow a free flow of energies. Meditation Phase 1. The larynx of energy. Close your eyes. Keep your eyes closed until the end of the meditation. Start breathing with the throat friction. The friction breathing generates a vibration in the throat. Become aware of the vibration in the larynx. Use the friction to intensify the vibration in the larynx. The vibration in the throat is made of two parts, one physical, created by the mechanical action of the breathing, and a more subtle one, like a tingling, that can still be perceived when you stop the breath. Use the throat friction to intensify the non-physical tingling. Adjust the position of your spine. Look for the absolute uprightness. Align the neck with the rest of your back in quest of a perfectly straight posture. Make sure that the head, the neck, and the rest of the back are in a straight line. Watch how the vibration in the larynx and the flow of energy in the throat can be enhanced by getting as close as possible to a perfectly vertical posture. Cultivate stillness. Meditation Phase 2. Vibration in the eye. Keep on breathing with the throat friction, but drop the awareness of the throat. Become aware of the vibration between the eyebrows. Connect the vibration in the eye, i.e. between the eyebrows, with the throat friction. If you are not too sure of what connecting means, just remain aware of both at the same time, the throat friction and the vibration between the eyebrows. Very quickly, it will become clear that a certain interaction takes place between the throat and the eye. That is what is meant by connecting. Phase 2 consists of using the throat friction as an amplifier to cultivate and build up the vibration in the eye. If you have the choice between heavy density and subtle tingling, rather go for the tingling. Avoid grasping. Keep the experience light. Meditation Phase 3. Light in the eye. Maintain the throat friction. The eyes remain closed till the end of the meditation. Drop the awareness of the vibration. Instead, start looking between the eyebrows for a fog or a haze, a glow, or any form of light or color. All of these can be regarded as different modalities of the light, which, of course, in the context of this book does not refer to physical light, but to spiritual light, perceived with your eyes closed. Remember, no imagination, no visualization, just awareness of what is in front of you. As soon as you perceive any of these modalities of light, fog, glow, color, even very vaguely, connect it with the throat friction. Just as in Phase 2 you were connecting the friction with the vibration between the eyebrows, you are now connecting the friction with the light. Instead of amplifying the vibration, you are now working at amplifying the light. As you go on practicing, you will perceive brighter and brighter parts of the light. Gradually drop the awareness of the hazier parts to focus on the most shining ones. Connect your amplifier friction with the most luminous part of the light. A common experience is that of tiny shining particles of light spread in the space in front of you and drifting in various directions. As you connect the friction with these luminous particles, some will enter you and go straight into your heart, feeding it with a precious energy. Meditation Phase 4. Awareness in the space. Remain in the eye, between the eyebrows. Instead of focusing on the light itself and on its shining particles, become aware of the background of the light. The darkness or the purple light at the background of all the colors will give you the feeling of a space extending in front of you. The space may appear purple, dark blue, or even just dark. More than the color, it is the feeling of expanse that matters. Just remain aware in the space. Let yourself be absorbed in it. At this stage, the throat friction can be decreased or even dropped. Start breathing with the friction again if the mind goes wandering with thoughts. Meditation Phase 5. Spinning in the space. Start spinning into the space in front of you, spiraling forwards and clockwise, as if you were falling forwards into a tunnel. Spin as if you were caught in a vortex. The vortex is there, in the space, waiting for you. Do not try to make up a spiraling movement. Rather, let yourself be caught by the vortex and carried by its natural motion. As you go on spinning, the qualities and color of the space will sometimes change, as if you were projected into a completely different area. Just acknowledge the various feelings and continue with the vortex. From time to time, or even constantly if you wish, you may use the throat friction to amplify the vortex effect. Non-technique. Drop any awareness of the breath, of the eye, of the space. Just become aware above the head. Doing nothing, looking for nothing, being just aware. Not even aware of yourself, just aware. Remain extremely motionless. Practice the art of losing control. Let the awareness take over, above the head. Coming back and finishing the meditation. Become aware again between the eyebrows. Listen to the sounds outside. Become aware of your body. Take a few long inhalations. Take as much time as you wish to come back fully, and then click the fingers of the right hand and open the eyes. Tips. Phase 1. Vibration in the larynx. It does not matter if in the beginning you find it difficult to separate the physical vibration from the non-physical one. It is enough to get a vague sense of the vibration, both physical and non-physical, for the process to follow its course. Anyway, by trying to be too precise, your mind would probably get in the way and block the process. All that is related to the vibration will probably become clearer after reading chapters 4, 6, and 8 and practicing the channel release techniques. In the beginning, it may be helpful to place your hand close to your throat, about 1 inch away, to enhance the feeling of energy in this area. Later on, this won't be necessary. For this practice, as for any work on the larynx of energy, it is crucial for the neck to be as vertical as possible. What obvious differences can one observe between the bodies of animals and those of human beings? A major one is that the human spine is vertical while animals live mostly in a horizontal position. Similarly, while animals have a larynx, it is not vertical. This gives us a clue about the importance of verticality for the larynx to achieve its cosmic status in connection with the spirit. Another clue can be found by perceiving what happens when you implement the first phase of the meditation. As soon as you reach a perfectly vertical position of the neck, a sudden enhancement of the vibration takes place in your larynx. Tips. Phase 2. Vibration in the eye. The larynx of energy acts as an amplifier and a giver of shape. By connecting the area between the eyebrows with the friction coming from the throat, you work at building up the third eye. In terms of experience, the intensification of the vibration in the eye that takes place as soon as you connect it with the friction indicates that the action of the larynx is taking place. As explained before, the vibration can also be felt as a tingling, a pressure, a density. This phase works at building the etheric layer of the third eye. Tips: Phase 3, light in the eye. In the beginning, connecting the light in the eye with the throat friction just means feeling the two simultaneously. Then it automatically happens that an exchange takes place between the two, by which the energy generated by the throat friction is communicated to the part of your third eye that perceives light. In practice, the experience is quite simple. The friction seems to feed the light to make it more tangible and brighter, which is another example of how the larynx can be used to give shape. Most of the students who think they can't see the light actually see it, but don't recognize it. You have to accept that in the beginning, the feeling of light may be faint, like a blurry whitish haze for instance. And yet this faint glow is the first thread. Use the amplifying effect of the larynx to develop it. Practice, 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 and the humble glow will turn into an illumination. Tips: Phase 4, the space. A common experience when reaching perception of the purple space is that of an immense feeling of relief in the heart, as if a huge weight had suddenly been lifted. As soon as you contact the inner space, your heart feels immensely lighter. Tips: Phase 5, the vortex. The clockwise direction should not be taken as systematic and compulsory. As always, you have to follow the energy of the instant, and that may sometimes make you spin backwards and anti-clockwise. Nevertheless, when no particular wind takes you backwards, it is preferable to move forwards and clockwise. The vortex is both a vortex and a tunnel at the same time. It is preferable not to have fixed expectations as to what it should look like. Let the perception arise by itself gradually. Spinning in the space leads to an elaborated science of the vortices, through which one can travel far in space and time. This introduces a form of traveling in which the purpose is not to project yourself outside your body, but to go so deep inside that there is nothing left to get out of. The vortex effect that leads from one space-time to another is used intensively in ISIS, the clairvision techniques of regression. Approach the vortex with great respect and wonder, as you would approach an archangel eons older than you, and it will take you into extraordinary mysteries. Thoughts during meditation. If thoughts arise during meditation, do not pay attention to them, just follow the process. You will soon notice that a strong vibration between the eyebrows tends to quieten the mind and significantly slow down its continuous flow of thoughts. So no need to fight mentally against the thoughts. Just don't focus your attention on them. Each time you get distracted by a thought, simply go back into the eye and continue the exercise. Persist in the process, and as the third eye develops, thoughts will automatically become less and less of a problem. Past a certain level of development, the third eye gives the capacity to get completely out of the mind, and thus out of the thoughts at will. Often, when the level of thoughts becomes disturbing, one can quieten them down by intensifying the throat friction, which has the action of reinforcing the vibration in the eye. But remember that in our meditation, the purpose is not to make the mind silent, a notoriously hopeless exercise, but to build the third eye. Once this is achieved, thoughts won't matter anymore. Synopsis of the third eye meditation preparation: sitting with your back vertical. Number 1 throat friction plus vibration in the larynx. Number 2 throat friction plus vibration between the eyebrows. Number 3 throat friction plus light between the eyebrows. Number 4 space. Number 5 spinning in the space, the vortex. Non-technique, just awareness above the head. Suggested times for each phase. For a 30-minute meditation, 5 minutes for each of the 5 phases, plus 5 minutes above the head. For a 60-minute meditation, Phase 1, 5 minutes. Phase 2, 10 minutes. Phase 3, 10 minutes. Phase 4, 10/15 minutes. Phase 5, 15/20 minutes. 5 minutes above the head. For a 10-minute meditation, take roughly 2 minutes for each phase. Do not neglect Phase 1, even when short of time, for it is an essential part of the process. More humming buzzing. This technique uses the humming sound we practiced in section 2.4. Sit with your back straight and become aware in the throat. Repeat phases 1, 2, and 3 of the third eye meditation, using humming buzzing instead of the throat friction. Then let yourself be immersed in the space, as in phases 4 and 5, using humming sound from time to time to penetrate deeper into the space. Tip: these humming sounds provide a powerful way to project yourself into the space. Don't hesitate to have recourse to them whenever you are disturbed by thoughts or mental activities during your meditation. How to organize your practice. During the first days of your practice, do as much meditation as you can, repeating the first opening practice. Section 3.2, and using the third eye meditation, 3.7, as well as its equivalent with the humming sounds, 3.8, and any other techniques you may pick up from the rest of the book. This strong initial imprint will make it easier to follow the rest of the process. Then a good way to proceed is to spend some time every morning practicing the third eye meditation, 3.7, and other exercises. For instance, meditate for 20 or 30 minutes, then practice the channel release exercises, chapters 4, 6, and 8, for 10 minutes, then the techniques on seeing, chapters 5 and 7, for 10 minutes, then the techniques on protection, chapters 18 and 20, for 10 minutes. Do a night practice, chapters 13, 14, 15, every evening before going to sleep, and possibly in the afternoon or early evening, for instance if you are tired after coming home from work. If you have more time, it is certainly possible and beneficial to devote longer periods to the exercises. Yet it should be clear that the clear-vision techniques have been designed for those who live in the world. They do not invite you to withdraw from your activities, but to start performing them with a new awareness, as will be discussed in Chapter 9. To succeed, the secret is not so much to spend long hours meditating but to incorporate more and more of these practices into each of your daily activities. The cornerstone of our method is to maintain a permanent awareness in the eye, between the eyebrows, whatever you are doing, apart from sleeping. This does not refer to the light or the space, which are to be kept for meditation times. But by permanently keeping an awareness of some vibration between the eyebrows, you will achieve a double purpose. On the one hand, you will gradually become more present in your actions and centered. On the other hand, your third eye will be nurtured by your awareness and develop into a powerful center of energy. So all the techniques of this book are to be regarded as occasions to cultivate a new awareness. The first and main benefit of our techniques of vision is that to implement them, you have to remain aware and present between the eyebrows. If you are short of time, you can very well follow the process indicated in this book by meditating, Technique 3.7, only 5 to 10 minutes every morning, and incorporating the other practices into your daily routines. But these 5/10 minutes of morning meditation are essential for the development of your third eye. If your schedule is such that your practice time is in the evening and not in the morning, still try to keep the 5/10 minutes of morning meditation at any cost. For they secure a reconnection of your I, which completely modifies your energy for the whole of the day. Whatever format you decide to adopt for your practice, remember that this part of the path has to do with building, subtle bodybuilding. The more you practice, the quicker the building will be achieved. The mysteries of the space. While practicing ISIS, the clairvision techniques of regression, it is not uncommon to re-experience the condition of the embryo during the very first days that follow conception. The fetus can be felt bathing in the purple space. The purple space is all around it, like a sea. The embryo is very tiny, and the space around is felt to be immense. This space is no different from the purple space that you perceive in your eye in the 4th and 5th phases of the third eye meditation. To the embryo, the space is outside, all around itself. But to us, the same space is inside. To enter the space, we have to withdraw inside and go through the portal of the third eye. In the Upanishads, a human being is compared to a city with 10 gates. 9 of these gates lead outside and only 1 leads inside. The 9 external gates are the 2 eyes, the 2 ears, the 2 nostrils, the mouth, the anus and the generative organ. The 10th gate is the third eye, or Jnana Chakra, which does not open into the external world, but into the inner space. So what was outside for the embryo is now inside for us. During the embryological processes that build up the fetus, an internalization of the astral space has taken place. It is a fascinating reversal, through which the inside becomes the outside, and the outside becomes the inside. And at death the opposite takes place, the individual reintegrates into the space. This leads us to a deeper understanding of the word existence, used to describe the period of life on earth. In Latin, ex means out, and sistere means to take position. Existence therefore means to take position out, that is, to exit from the space. Existence is the temporary exit from the space that we experience between birth and death. Now you can understand the feeling of relief in your heart when you immerse yourself in the purple space during meditation. It is as if your heart was suddenly relieved of all the pressures of incarnated life, all the troubles of existence, enough to make you feel much lighter. One of the results of initiation is to establish a permanent connection with the space without losing any of one's anchorage on Earth. One can then enjoy the peace of the cosmic space and at the same time remain fully involved in one's daily activities. Past a certain level, the joyful lightness forever stays in your heart, whatever may be happening outside. Yet let it be very clear that the purpose of the clairvision style of work is not to take you out of incarnation into some happy floaty paradise, but to prepare you for a work of alchemy, transformation of the very substance of your bodies. The purpose is enlightenment here and now, in the middle of the cosmic mess of modern life. Paradoxically, connecting with the space creates an inner freedom that allows you to be more fully in the world. This is the end of Chapter 3 of Awakening the Third Eye by Samuel Sagan, MD. Break time equals 2000 milliseconds. Please listen to this recording minimum 3 times for better and long-term results. If you like this recording, please comment and share it with your friends and loved ones. Stay tuned for listening more books like this. Thank you and good luck.